Josh Acheampong is the best young centre-back in the world, and I didn't say he's one of the best. Neither did I say he's a potential prospect. I'm saying he's currently the best young centre-back in the world. And you don't have to take my word for it. Let's analyze him together. When it comes to Josh's defensive off-the-ball movement, he's yet again wonderful. And honestly, I don't think it's lacking in anything. So let's take some look at the scenes. So, from my first observation, Josh actually starts the sequence very well. He immediately recognizes that this is a central carry from midfield and is not one he can just jump into. So instead of rushing, Josh keeps adjusting his position in relation to Mateta. And the really clever thing he does here is that he pushes ahead of Mateta first. And now that does three important things. It keeps Mateta in his view, it allows him stay aware of where the ball is, and it prepares him for any movement or stunts that Mateta might try to pull. So Josh is also an incredible athlete. He has the strength and balance to run at very high speed while moving sideways, and that's key. It allows him jumps across and intercept the ball, or to instantly pressure Mateta if the ball gets to him. So as Josh's movement keeps both the man and the ball in his view, he's also constantly judging the danger. The moment he recognizes that Mateta is no longer the main threat, he breaks out of that movement and steps out to close down the ball, which he does successfully. On the surface, it looks easy, but recoveries like this, reading both the man and the ball at speed and executing it cleanly at this level is incredibly difficult, and Josh makes it look effortless. In the second scene, Josh does the exact same thing again. He spots an uncertain pass early and immediately moves ahead of Mateta to cover his run and protects his post and still keep the ball in view. And again, there's something a bit strange, almost abnormal about Josh, is the way he can run sideways at top speed without looking slow and sometimes even backwards. This is what allows him to cover the striker while retreating, while still seeing what is happening behind him, where the ball is, and what's the best reaction that he should take. Most players don't have this level of agility or full body control. They are forced to face forward while running forward, and they keep checking their shoulders, but Josh don't need to. He can retreat, cover, scan, and adjust all at the same time. Now, because Josh already has Mateta covered, he was now free to see the loose pass, and once he confirmed that Mateta was no longer a threat, he stepped in, handled the ball cleanly, and killed the danger. Again, it looks simple, but doing this repeatedly at full speed against top forward is extremely difficult, but Josh makes it look like a routine. The next analysis is more of a holistic one, and it actually exposes a flaw in Chelsea's tactical and player recruitment system. The first thing we see is two Chelsea players are marking a Palace player from behind when he's already running towards the goal. Now, that's bad positioning already. Then you look at midfield. Caicedo is all alone. No partner close to him, no inverted midfielder supporting, and it makes you ask, where's everyone? Because Caicedo and the defense is completely exposed, and this happens every single time. Now, Caicedo has the press trigger mentality where he sees a duel and his first instinct is to launch in. But the Palace player reads it, he knows Caicedo is coming and he sets a bait, so he delays the pass just a bit. Caicedo launches, then he slips the ball under him. Just like that, Caicedo has lost time and space on an uncalculated tackle. Now the midfield is wide open, and Palace have numbers ready to attack it. At this point, any centre-back is forced to step out. Now if you don't, the attack walks through your midfield, so Chalobah takes responsibility and steps in to stop the Palace forward from linking up play. But by stepping out, Chalobah opens up space in behind, and Mateta is already attacking that space. Mateta slips in behind him. Now Josh is forced to cover Mateta, but he cannot abandon his own space. Chalobah tries to recover, Caicedo is nowhere to be found. Marc Cucurella, who is the inverted fullback in this case, arrives late and reads the situation too slow. It's now 3 on Josh. And yeah, the key question is, was it Chalobah's fault? Absolutely not. He's cooked either way. This is the consequences of the playing style and the midfield structure and the profile of player Chelsea recruited. attackers who don't walk back, midfielders left isolated, and the whole inverted midfielder idea with zero protection. Josh does what any elite defender would do. He doesn't rush, he marks the space intelligently, probably like a Van Dijk would. He positions himself between the ball carrier, the space leading to Mateta, but while trying to delay, buy time and let help arrive, the pass was slipped to Mateta too quickly. Josh turned with his outstanding turning speed and he gets tight on Mateta, forcing him to shoot early, causing the shot to be saved. So in the scene 4, Josh stays ahead of Mateta as the attack develops. He runs with a sideways body position, not rushing, he's just not trying to overcome it as well. Remember that the sideways movement is key. It keeps Mateta in his view and keeps the ball in view at the same time. Then Chalobah does his job by fully covering Mateta. Once Josh sees that the striker is handled, he releases himself from the duel and steps away to clear the danger. These are two good defenders working together. Have you ever wondered how you could have your own voice in the world of football? How you could build your own personal brand in scouting, coaching, or tactical analysis, starting from absolutely nothing? The truth is, all the opportunities you need are already in your hands, right there with what you're watching me on. And that's why I'm excited to bring to you my first tutorship, my book, and my course. In my book, you're going to get a theory behind everything I do, from getting started with absolutely nothing, to my analysis framework, to the basic tool I use, just like your phones and laptops, research, analysis, creation, and management, all broken down clearly. And in my video course, you're going to get a practical side. Everything is recorded step by step from start to finish, so you can actually see how the work is done. And finally, my tutorship. This includes everything above, plus direct guidance from me. There's a one-on-one option, a small group option, and a cohort where I guide multiple people at a time. So if you're serious about football, about developing your own voice, turning your passion into real skills and opportunities, everything is available on my website. So go there, choose what fits you best, and I wish you a wonderful journey. In the scene 5, a long ball was launched towards Mateta, and Josh is already well positioned ahead of him. He pressed back and gets tight and marks him aggressively, so it kills the progression completely. Mateta is handled and that part was done. But then another player from the Palace team was making an overlapping run down the flank, and this is where the problem starts. Marc Cucurella is tracking back, but he completely misread the situation. He doesn't recognize that Mateta is already Josh's job, which was done. Instead of checking the overlapping runner on the left, he runs blindly towards the goal, not looking aside. That single mistake changes everything. Mateta, who was already under control, simply slips the pass to the wide player on the overlapping run, and now Josh is forced into the worst possible situation. He has to chase a player from a standing position, and that's unfair defending. That's being put out of position by someone else's error, but even then, Josh reacts brilliantly. He covers ground, times his approach, secures the situation, and even wins the foul at the end. So yes, mistakes happen, but once again, Josh cleans it up. And just in case you're asking, what was Cucurella supposed to do there? Josh actually shows you this in the next clip. When Josh steps out to close the attack, he immediately spots an overlapping run, and the first thing he does is not to chase the ball. He reacts by covering the man first. Man before the ball. Man before the ball, every single time. Once the run is controlled and the danger is delayed, then he reacts to the ball. That is how you defend without exposing yourself or your teammate. Now overall, we can see rarely ever do you see him making a wrong call with his movement. He's always ahead, always aware, and then there's his natural ability that just makes everything look effortless. So yes, 100 out of 100 for Josh in this aspect of the game. When it comes to Josh's relationship with the ball, he's easily one of the best young centre-backs in the world. And if you doubt me, you don't have to take my words for it. Let's take a look at some of his action. Over here, Josh is dealing with a clearance dropping behind him near the halfway line. Now Josh and his partners are running back towards their own goal, and the opponent is sprinting forward to pressure him from behind. And this is a very critical situation. Before the ball even drops, Josh scans over his shoulder and takes a look to anticipate where the ball will first bounce. Then he curves his run slightly so the ball lands into his stride, preventing it from crashing into him and deflecting into the feet of the attackers. Due to his scanning and adjusted run, he's positioned to react better. Instead of needing more touches to control the ball in a situation where time is luxury that he doesn't even have, he uses the outside of his foot to move the ball instantly, and that alone tells you that he was prepared. On the return pass to Josh, he immediately scans again. Then he recognized that a right back is under pressure from behind, and the right back hasn't checked his blind side, so passing there would be easy, but it would hurt his team and make the opponent's press successful. So under the pressure from two opponents, off balance, running towards the touchline, Josh disguises his intention and slip a pass back to the goalkeeper. Most defenders would have just cleared the ball for a throw-in, but Josh kept possession. Now that's ball relationship on display. The scanning, the adjusting constantly, disguising his intention, composure, and the decision making under stress. In the second clip, we see Josh receives the ball on the right side while playing right back. The easy option was to play it wide, easily, because that's what the opponents expect. But Josh obviously doesn't do what they expect. His first touch usually sets up the play, he never takes a wrong first touch, and is positioned him perfectly to carry the ball forward. A midfielder squeezing ahead of him trying to block the lane, while another player followed him from behind to mark him. Instead of panicking, Josh reads the situation perfectly in split seconds and takes advantage of it. He delays the pass for just a moment, not because he's unsure, but to time his movement and slip out of pressure perfectly. Then he shuffles his speed slightly so he can use the right foot to pass and change direction with his left foot. And that right there is incredible. He continues his run past the two players, keeping the play alive. Tariq Judge returns the pass to Josh, and now the next line is in front of him. He shapes his upper body to pass to the striker, but the defensive midfielder is obligated to cut that pass, so he anticipated and blocked the lane immediately. Now, most players would have been forced to pass to the flank or recycle possession or force the pass to the 9 and lose the ball, but Josh doesn't force it. With his body still facing forward, he disguised the pass and slided to the number 10 instead, with just one action solving multiple problems at once. This shows his control of space, timing, and the ability to break the opponent's rhythm. Over here, we see Josh near the halfway line again, facing his own goal as he receives the ball. Two players are closing him down, one player coming from the blind side, and the other from his far view. Most defenders here would just pass back. That's a safe and normal option, but Josh loves to break the flow of the opponent, so he lowers his center of gravity and wait. He keeps his eyes on the blind side, expecting the image from behind to get bigger, which tells him the marker is close. What he's doing is simply waiting for them to commit and to be caught flat-footed. The moment they do, he nudges the ball sideways between both players and slips through them and accelerates away. Perfect timing, perfect balance, perfect body control. Josh shows winger-level ball manipulation coming from a defender. Now in this scene, Josh opens up and receives the ball while pressure arrives quickly. Remember, he's always in control of his first touch. He waits for the striker for a split second, he pauses just long enough to sell his angle. His upper body leaned one way, the striker commits to that side. But with his full control of his body, Josh turns cleanly on the other way immediately, and the striker now has to chase. He was caught flat-footed, baited, and has lost momentum. And in football, every second matters. Josh passes to the center back, but scans to gather information for the next action. Is the next pass going to the goalkeeper or to the midfield? Since Chalobah is under pressure, he picks the information he needs, stays involved, receives again, turn again, and moves possession higher up the pitch. This is what controlling tempo looks like: repeated, calm, and confident. Alright, so overall, what we've seen here is that Josh is a complete player when it comes to his relationship with the ball, and let's be honest, this isn't a player that I can confidently sit here and say, oh, he needs to improve on this or he needs to work on that. No, Josh is perfect in this area. Now, if you look at the bad pro players, the ones who made it but never really mastered this ball relationship, they're usually the ones who are caught constantly flat-footed. Then you have the good pro players. They are the ones who keep the ball moving seamlessly and they stay within the rhythm of the game. And then there's the maverick level players like Josh. The ones who actively break the opponent's rhythm. You watch them and you see feints, disguised passes, one-touch passes, shoulder drops, carries that create spaces, all ahead of the rhythm, all perfectly timed. And Josh does all of that. Every single moment is involved. He breaks the rhythm. The scary thing about Josh is what really makes him stand out is that he has every single one of this skill set. He can drop the shoulder, he can disguise the pass, he can play one touch, he can carry the ball. So if you want to measure it on a scale of 100, where 100 is perfect, I honestly think his team always benefits. From the two previous skill sets, you could tell Josh's decision making is outstanding. But let's take a look at how he chooses to handle situations live in game. The first thing here, Josh needed to have that forward in his marked zone and at least have an idea where he would be around in his blind side. So he didn't just let him run where he wants to while he's keeping his eyes on the ball. So Josh used that subtle hand and placed his hand beneath his collarbone first to avoid a foul, and he did it for a few seconds to slow him down and to keep him close behind himself. And after that, he flows with the rhythm while keeping his eyes on the cross and adjusting himself backwards. He's now free to trust his judgment of his positioning, the danger behind, and when to nick the ball safely without any need of anticipating a buzz from behind him. So the idea was that touch, the slow down and put him behind himself. The second scene here, we get to see Chelsea attackers and part of the midfielders slipping on a direct play and having a woeful marking structure. Now Josh is forced to come inside and stop midfield progression, and he does it well. And now if he didn't, he would have given the opponent a free run at his defense. So he follows his man to mark him down, and he stops retreating after he has shown the passer that is available to kill any threat there. But the ball circles to the opponent's number 9 and the midfield is somehow open again. So basically what he was trying to cover for occurred at Chalobah's end, and which makes you wonder, what on earth does the players and the manager's system do about these leaks that exposes their centre-backs every single time? So Saicedo is cut somewhere else and Chalobah is forced to drop in. Now Josh, seeing the backline is completely forsaken, he quickly retreated into that space to stay off the danger. Now in this scene, Josh's decision to not go ahead at first into his own box after a long ball is justified. He noticed Elliott was making an attacking run behind him and he was already far enough to cover. So Josh didn't want to give him enough space, and the two major threats ahead of him was covered by Chalobah and Rhys James accordingly. So he checks his shoulder and scan. Then he sees Elliott moving to support Odoi. So he first positions himself on the line between the goal and the player, which is a good decision by the way, and then approaches Elliott to mark him down. Everything feels calculated than rushed, but his efficiency stopped the progression, which was his decision. But his action later lacked a little bit of urgency, letting Elliott slip ahead of him for a split second, leaving Josh to chase and close him down. So what's to see here? The ability to stay calm and know where to be and when to be creative with your movement. I would obviously criticize him for his movements being too slow towards the box at first, but if he had rushed, he would have been in an already marked space, leaving Elliott with an island to receive and make a crucial decision against Chelsea. So for me, that's a great call. So we see a same situation again. After he has successfully slowed down the attack, Chalobah is drawn to close down the man on the ball. The center is left open. Chelsea again lacking adequate midfield support, but this time, unlike the previous, Josh sends the empty space and quickly steps in, this time to cover, not minding the man behind him hustling Odoi in this case, as the space and goal was more important than marking the man behind himself. So overall in his decision making, Josh Acheampong is completely flawless. He just doesn't go by the textbook. He can read various kinds of situation and react accordingly. So for me, I'm gonna give Josh 100 out of 100 again. So far, this is the first area where I'll say Josh will definitely get sharper with time, and while almost everything about his defensive action is already solid, I think he still needs to mature a bit in his urgency during certain situations. You're going to see this in his timing, in his headers, especially how he reacts to complicated scenarios, heavy lifting for everyone else. That's a part of why the manager is starting Pedro Neto, whose major contribution is not really what he was bought for, defensive contribution. He's one of the few attackers who actually provide legs to help the midfield and defense, covering for players like Enzo, Palmer, and the other attackers. So in this scene, you see Gusto was ball watching and allowing the opponent to play over him. While I would want Josh to react with more urgency, yeah, he's clearly overworked in this moment. But this isn't the only example. In the second clip, at first, it looked like he allowed the pass in behind. But on a closer look, you realize he was dealing with a situation where one player is facing 3 opponents. So, does he lack urgency? Maybe a bit. But most of the time, it's down to his teammates switching up and placing too much responsibility on the young centre-back. First off, when it comes to how Josh carries the ball or how he dribbles, the first thing you notice is how much his style resembles that of a winger. Every touch, every movement is designed to give him an advantage and put the opponent in a disadvantaged position. Take his first touch for example, it's never random, it's always setting the ball up for the angle he wants to carry to. He uses that one touch to prepare the next every single time, and that's key to breaking rhythm and taking advantage of time and space. Then comes the second touch. Once he feels like the defender has slowed down or committed to a direction, the second touch is explosive. He just zooms past you, forcing shots, ball, fouls, and panic. In terms of the fundamental, Josh carries the ball like a winger, knees bent, body balance, strong to the ground. If you don't know he was a centre back, you would honestly think he's a wide player. The feints, the change of speed, the patience. He knows how to wait for the exact moment when the marker gets flat-footed or leans too much into one direction. And when he changes direction, it's so smooth, so clean that once you're committed, it's almost impossible to recover. All of this just adds to his overall profile, his playmaking, his ball relationship, how well he helps his team progress the ball. He's a wonderful player. So if I'm rating him out of 100, I'm going to give him 100 here. You simply don't find centre-backs with this level of ball carrying ability on a wide scale. Some can drive the ball forward, but only very few can consistently toy with strikers and attackers the way he does. He invites pressures, plays with it, controls it, and more often than not, he gets away with it. And at this level, that's rare. So it's going to keep improving, but once again, 100 out of 100 for me. When it comes to his heading, this is one area where I think Josh really needs to improve. He's a very tall player, but it's time Josh is going to be coming up against strikers who are just as tall as him. The next thing he needs to improve is how he uses his arm. He has to understand how to use them to lift himself higher, create balance in the air, and win more duels. Those are really 2 key areas, the timing and the usage of his arms. Now when it comes to free headers, he actually knows how to score them. But defensively, this can be a slight weakness, and the stats back that up as well. This might be one of the reasons Maresca hasn't fully trusted him yet, especially when it comes to holding the back line and dealing with crosses into the box. At times, he gets caught in between, he jumps a fraction late, and the ball goes over him and behind him. And that's where the centre forward can take advantage. This is just something he might just need some time to move into the senior football, because at the academy level, he was completely flawless, and he's been able to progress every of his skill set. And I believe this is just going to become something that would easily forget in a matter of time. So when it comes to his playmaking, he's not there yet compared to players like Levi Colwill. But going back to his academy days, one thing that stands out is that he got that real range for long passing. He has that one pass that can break lines and open the game too. Right now, I would say some of these passes are still a little bit overhit, but the technique is actually good. It knows how to find his target. And when the pass isn't on, I would say he knows how to create chances and progress the ball through his carries. He'll carry, attract pressure, and beat the pressure, then he'll pass the ball into that space. For me, that's still playmaking. The reason we haven't seen much of this consistently in the men team is just down to the system. It doesn't really encourage creativity, because after one mistake, as a young player, you're definitely gonna get benched. When it comes to Josh 1v1s, I really love to focus on the fundamentals because before the ball even gets to the attacker, Josh is already prepared. And that is important because as the winger receives the ball, he just doesn't rush in. Instead, he makes sure he's aligned with the goal line, and by doing that, he immediately takes away the most dangerous option. And without positioning, that means the attacker can't run straight at goal, so they are forced to either sideways or going out wide, which already put Josh at an advantage. And the next thing you notice is his deceleration. So before the attacker even have sorted out their footwork or decide what decision they want to make, Josh is already calm, balanced, and ready for a do. And that's crucial because it's one of the main reasons he's never caught flat-footed and why he rarely dives into lazy fouls. Now when you look at his body mechanics, everything just makes sense. He bends over his knees, he keeps his shoulder wide, and he stays side on. Not to foul, but to feel the attacker, maintain balance, and to kind of just have this push over them to win the duel. So when you put all of this together and you consider his age, it's remarkable how consistent he already is in the 1v1 situation. That's why it's so difficult to beat him. He's fast, he's strong, he's tall, he's agile, and he's very comfortable going body to body with any type of attacker. So overall, when it comes to Josh 1v1s and duels, this is another area where he's just really flawless. Overall, Josh Acheampong is a maverick of a player. Not just one of the best, but one of those players who eventually enters the elite of the elite conversations. The kind of player where once their career is done, people start comparing them with the very best to ever do it. Players like currently Reece James, and beyond that, the type you almost feel comfortable comparing to the greats. Van Dijk levels, that's fair. That's how I see Josh, and that's how I highly rate him. Now in terms of what he still needs to iron out. Firstly, we didn't talk about his attacking output, but I did rate him still because I'm going off what I've seen and the direct words of trusted sources who watched him throughout his academy days. And improvements wise, we'll all have to look at his headers. And sometimes I want him to kind of tighten up his urgency when he's dealing with other people's mistake. I know he's often overworked when he plays, and I know he ends up covering for a lot, but even then, this is an area where I really want him to constantly improve. Just clean up people's mess and do it well. I also believe that his aerial timing is one of those reasons Maresca haven't fully trusted him yet. Not the only reason, because there's always an internal and political factors at the club which we don't get to see. But from a footballing perspective, that's definitely part of it. Still, from everything we've seen, I genuinely believe that he has what it takes to become one of the very best to play the game. That's why I rate him potentially so high. And as of today, Josh Acheampong is already world class. He's ready to start for a top club, ready to compete at the highest level, and already better than the average centre back. Let me say this again. Today, he's better than the average. He's world class already, and I see him getting better from here. So Josh Acheampong is that good. So that'll be all for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Scout's perspective is back.